We can dance if you want to. We can leave your friends behind. Because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friends of mine.
Kill it with fire!
Uh-oh. Hello, chat. Give me a second. I was not expecting things to be the way that they are. Um, yeah.
Bah.
Bad action. But hey, how is everyone?
Well, if you can't tell, I'm kind of off the map. I don't know how I got here, but it's kind of weird. It's very yellow, and the rooms go on forever.
Yeah.
Horace.
Well, we haven't streamed in a while, so you probably fell asleep and poof.
I did meet something in here. It's kind of wiry. I think it's made of fungus. It tried to attack me, but now we just play cribbage.
Making friends with things in the back rooms. Got it.
Horace.
I don't know if I should be scared, worried, or pretend nothing happened.
A little bit of everything. I keep trying to find a way out, but I think I'm stuck here.
Don't go down the slide.
There's a slide?
You'll go deeper.
Oh. Is that bad?
Yes. I think. Oh, the music. Ooh.
Oh, it's right here.
So, do we want to attempt an intro?
If you want to. TikTok's now live.
Ah, everything is alive. Wonderful. Yes. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to season 12, episode 37 of our long-standing weekly episodic show that we have never missed a single episode.
Never. Not one.
My name is Antwon Creed, and I am one of the co-hosts of Deaf Banshee's wonderful stream, where we talk about absolutely nothing and everything all at once. And we are also joined by Sparrow once again, who I think is the reason I am stuck here.
Probably.
Horace.
And the thunder rolls.
I can hear thunder, so I'm pretty sure it's dark forces have kept me here.
And the lightning strikes.
Horace.
Another goes cold on a sleepless night. Mother Nature, you suck. You missed your cue.
No. So, how has everyone been on our stream that we have never missed a single episode of?
Well, I've been doing a lot of TikToks, and I've been into the creator for CapCut to make templates.
You know how to use CapCut?
Yeah.
Oh. Ishtar was trying to learn how to do that, and she gave up halfway through.
I'm surprised for an old woman.
Ouch! Careful, she'll come in and smack you around a little bit, young one.
I'm in a forest. She can't.
I'm sure she can find you. If she's able to get messages to me here in the back rooms, I'm pretty sure she can find you.
Oh, look! I can mute you! I have muting capabilities!
Wow, I'm so scared of my own mother.
Yeah, but it shows on screen when you're planning on muting someone.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately.
My character's tweaking.
I love our chat.
Alright, so what is everyone...
That doesn't sound like a punishment, Antwon.
So what has everyone been up to? I know I have a few announcements that most people already know about, but what have you two been doing?
Well, why don't you do your few announcements, mister? Me.
Because then you're going to say I'm lecturing people.
No. You're doing announcements. A lecture's different.
It's my job to bully him.
Well,
Didn't have
Ishtar and I have gone on a new venture. We debuted a very brand new thing that we worked on together called Good Book Voices. As you know, I am an audio narrator, and so is she. I'm also an editor. And, well, we decided we were going to start something called The Last Free Signal. And that is a cyberpunk dystopia audio narration. And, thank you, Mother Nature, for the thunder. That very perfectly timed. It was the very first episode debuted this last Tuesday. We have gotten good feedback, and if you all want, I can drop the link in the chat for whatever reason. But
You could always spam the chat. Spamming.
it's something new. We wrote it together, and we have voiced most of the characters. We got a friend of ours to help us voice the other characters, and it's something we're extremely proud of. It was well done, and we even got some praise from the audio narration podcast that we work for. But there's the link. If you haven't watched it yet, you don't have to watch it. It's not like a video. There is stuff going on screen. But it's meant to be listened to.
Watch it later. Watch the stream first.
I'm not saying leave now. I'm just saying you don't have to watch it. You can just listen to it.
I'm good.
Addicted.
No.
What
Hey,
was the
Sparrow.
notification?
Yeah.
Can you check and see if we're live on TikTok?
Yep.
Thank you. Because TikTok seems to be giving me problems. TikTok is always giving me problems.
On which account?
My main.
It's showing nothing.
That's what I thought. Huh. It's weird. Because TikTok's live studio says that we're live, but I went to my account itself and it shows nothing.
Does it think you're a 13-year-old girl again?
That was a thing. I will admit to that.
You're like in your 50s.
Are you not? That's like...
You know, do I need to step aside so, you can mute the stream and you can go, handle your business?
Don't worry, I call my man old too.
Oh. Owie.
I do not see anything going on your TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't see anything on your TikTok.
What do you mean? should have a lot of stuff on my TikTok.
There it is. It doesn't say you're live.
No, it doesn't, and I say that. No idea what's going on. I'm messing with the OBS.
But speaking of TikToks,
Oh,
along with the YouTube episodic things, we do have a TikTok channel, Good Book Voices, which we are going to be doing short stories and things for TikTok. Just kind of putting ourselves out there. Those are the new things I've been doing. What have you two been doing?
Like I already said, I've been doing a lot of TikToks and CapCut. I'm fighting with TikTok currently. I have new books out. That's about it.
I wish I had time to continue to write my book. Do you know, I've been contacted by people on Discord about, like, they want to get to know new authors and things like that, and it's all just them trying to sell me shit.
Yeah.
They want to sell me ghostwriting, they want to be a ghostwriter or things like. They brag about having like 18 books on Amazon that are self-published. Like, that's awesome. I'm glad you used AI to write your books. I don't need to
I'm
do that.
self-published on Amazon. I don't use AI to write my books. I'm offended.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. They're trying to sell something.
Yeah.
Which is, and when it's unprompted, when it's, unsolicited, it's a scam. And then on Twitter, I've had people coming into my DMs because I have a avatar. Of course, it's not a person. It's a VR avatar. They come into my DMs and like, "Hi, how are you?" I'm like, "Hello." Whenever they start off like that, I immediately get suspicious. And then they're like, "Would you like to see some of my work?" No, I don't want to. I don't need to commission you. I don't want to commission you. I didn't ask to commission you. Go away. Yes, but if you please just look at it. No. Then I had one person who tried to do it, and it was pretty sure it was an overt scam. They don't even advertise their quote unquote artwork on their own Twitter profile. They just say they have it, which means 100% they steal other people's artwork and use it as their own and pass it off and try and make money off of it.
I'm an artist.
Absolutely despicable.
I am an artist and I'm offended because what the fuck?
I don't do business with these people, and
I know.
when it gets to a point that they keep pushing and are a little aggressive to try and make money, then I start being mean. I'm not someone you want to be mean to you.
No.
Yeah, I am.
So we know what I've been doing. We know what Banshee has been doing. Sparrow, this is your turn.
For personal reasons, I'm not gonna say.
I don't think Sparrow's done anything with any type of content.
I thought you were starting your own channel and doing things like that.
I just forget to post stuff. Plus, I've been hanging out with my boyfriend a little too much.
You have a boyfriend now?
Our 2 months is like coming up soon.
Is this something that you approve of, Banshee, or do I have to start doing something?
I haven't decided.
Is he a nice boy?
He's very robotic.
You're talking to a cyber demon. What's wrong with robotic?
There's a difference between being robotic and being a robot. Different things. Like, the man don't act like he ever gets comfortable. He's always stiff. I can't read him.
I don't want to give personal information out.
I'm not asking for personal information.
And I'm not giving personal information out. I'm just saying he's robotic.
I still love him. He's a nice guy.
That's all that matters, I guess.
Did you say love already? It's only been
Yes.
2 months.
Yes, I agree. And he's asked me to marry her already. I said
Oh,
no.
come on.
I said no. It's too soon for this stuff. Talk to me in a year.
How old is this boy?
19.
Banshee, I'm gonna have to go talk to her boyfriend.
Okay. Have fun. I don't understand why TikTok's being the way it is. It's weird. I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna pretend it's live, even though it's not showing live on my actual TikTok. But I'm gonna ignore it and pretend it is. Eventually, its servers will fix itself.
So, did you meet this boy in school?
Yes, I did.
And how old are you again?
16, about to turn 17. Hi, how are you?
I think Mother Nature has spoken. I'm not gonna harp on that. Like, I figured you were around that age. I'm not gonna harp on that like everybody else does. I don't think there's anything wrong with a 19-year-old dating a 17 or a 16-year-old. 3 years, 2 years isn't a big difference. But him talking about marrying you 2 months into a relation. Are you his first girlfriend?
Nope.
No,
No.
I'm his first healthy relationship.
Well, that is because you are a very intelligent and emotionally aware young woman. Is he emotionally intelligent young man? That's a no.
It depends on the people that he's around.
All right. Okay, so I'm kind of getting that he may be a little bit on the spectrum.
Yeah.
That's fine. It means he just has to get comfortable with people. How fast? I feel like I'm doing an interview. How fast did he say he loved you? And who said it first?
I said I love you first. This is. It took him a while for him to fall in love with me.
A while? 2 months?
2 months? See, Mother Nature agrees. I can hear her rumbling in the background.
Okay. Like, before we got together.
So was he a friend before?
Yes, he was a friend.
How long
Slash
have you
enemy.
known? Slash enemy.
Okay, I used to hate him before I listened to his side of the story.
So before you thought he was hot?
Yeah.
Okay. At least you admit that part. Okay. So how long have you known him total?
Freshman year.
So 2+ years?
She's
3 years?
They're a senior this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 4 years. And you just recently stopped being enemies?
No.
Yeah. All right. So it's not your first relationship,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And it's not his first relationship, but his first healthy relationship.
It's also her first healthy relationship, too.
Well, everybody has to go through and... Look, I went through a briar patch of psychotic women.
Fanboy was very toxic. Just saying. Fairy. Like, hated everything to do with Sparrow.
Wait,
What,
who?
your last boyfriend hated everything to do with you?
Mm-hmm.
Then what was
Oh.
he with you for?
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
I'm pretty sure
Look,
Band
teenagers
Boy
are crazy.
was pushed. Because he couldn't have, at the time, the one that he wanted, but now Band Boy is with the one that he wanted, and...
Well, okay. Okay, here's the thing. That confuses me, like, so much, because they both talk smack about each other behind each other's back. And they would also have arguments during the band, too. So I'm, like, so confused on why they're together.
Because they wanted to hide the fact that they really wanted each other. Psychology is amazing. Just saying. TikTok, please actually go fucking live.
No.
No, I just cussed, so of course TikTok's not gonna let me. Cut back up!
I don't.
You know
I do have a dad voice. Yes, I know. But
Go on.
I don't mean to use it, mainly because I'm not her dad, of course. So it's more the issue I have, and it's because you guys are young. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the asking your mother for your hand in marriage while you two have only been together for 2 months. Like, that's fast.
Agreed.
That's very fast.
Agreed.
It's better than under a week, because people has done that before.
Well, yeah, Danny Bonaducci got married after 3 days because he wanted to have sex with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
They're not together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's having someone do something quicker. I mean,
He's actually a
Britney
scientist.
Spears. No, was it Britney Spears or was it Madonna? Madonna or Britney Spears or whoever and Dennis Rodman got married over a weekend and then annulled it at the weekend was over.
I don't remember. Chat, help us.
So just because people have done it sooner doesn't mean that 2 months is still a good thing. And I'm not trying to disparage you from developing the relationship. If you both are in a healthy relationship, that's great. Develop it. You could be high school sweethearts, the whole thing, and it works out. That's wonderful. It's very fast. Like you guys were enemies at first, you're friends now you're boyfriend and girlfriend. So just from experience, I would just
Ad
say
starts in 4 minutes.
I would just say slow down a little bit.
A little?
I'm having him wait until I'm out of high school, or at least 18.
I told him to come back to me in a year. So that is after you turn 18.
Because a lot can happen. A lot can happen in that year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You guys haven't even had your real first argument. That says a lot. What the fuck? Call ends in 15 minutes. No. Extend call. Uno momento.
Yep.
Allow this time. Of course, you're gonna make me pay for shit, aren't you? That's fine. It's fine. We'll just end this call and then come back with another one. It's not gonna be a thing.
yeah, Zoom does that too.
Yeah.
I ended up, when I was doing my MSNBC, I had to sign up for Zoom Plus or whatever it was. And then we could have unlimited calls with like 45 people in the call. It never got that high, but if we were doing the free version of Zoom, it was 45 minutes.
It's fine. It's fine.
Britney Spears. Yeah, Britney Spears was with Kevin Federline not for a few months. They were married for a couple years. They are not together anymore, of course. So I believe it was Britney Spears and like Dennis Rodman or something. They got married for a weekend. Um, so it's a lot can happen in a year. A lot can happen in a month. Just don't coming from experience. Just like your mom, like Banshee said, wait until you have your first serious argument and figure out how you two work through that. That will tell you a lot about him and you. And just take your time. You're young. You don't need to lock yourself down early.
I just sent the new link.
Are we leaving this link and going to the new one?
Yeah, since we're doing an ad now.
Do you want to put the intermission screen up?
Sure. I could do that one.
Please do not ask what happened because nothing happened. I do not know what happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened in the video in the beginning of this episode. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's just the fact that I am very, very stupid. Yes, that's the right word. Yeah, I'm very careless and stupid. Please do not ask what happened because nothing happened. I do not know what happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened in the video in the beginning of this episode. Nothing happened.
Hey, Antwon's now in the middle.
I'm still on the.
He's been in the middle for mine.
Not for us on the stream. He was not where Sparrow was.
I'm now in between two women. This is usually where someone wants to be.
This is usually trouble.
Yes, I know for a fact. Ishtar was part of it. When I was doing streams regularly, way back when I started my original YouTube channel, I was working nights. So in the morning, I had nothing to do. So I would just kind of, I'm going to boot up a stream and talk to people. It's how I got to be really good friends with Sparky. And I decided to invite a bunch of women. I had 5 women on my stream and me. And you would think, wow, that's really cool. 1 guy, 5 girls. No, I didn't get a word in edgewise. I got told to do everything under the sun. Never, ever, ever have that many women and yourself on a stream. Ever. It is a bad idea.
Too late. You're the only man.
Well, I understand that.
Do you?
Yes. And apparently we have an ad break.
Yeah, that's why I did this. Okay. We're gonna try this again. Bitch. I'm gonna keep cussing until fucking TikTok works. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, they can't hear you anyway.
Exactly.
Alright. Well, when the ad break ends, did you want me to jump into the Reddits?
Sure. We can do that.
What is a best friend?
Okay.
I hear notifications.
Yeah.
It's my phone.
I don't want you to feel like I was like invading your space, Sparrow. You're a very nice young woman. I don't want to see you taken advantage of by someone. because then I will have to, hurt them.
Yeah, we can talk about my ex, Jade.
Let's not dox people, please.
I don't remember where he lived.
I don't. First name
I
is
don't
not
even know if he
involved.
still lives there.
Like, saying someone's first name is not a dox.
It's not even his first name.
Yeah, but my point is that if more information was to have come out.
Well, we're not. We're not talking about his deep details of who he is. And the fact. Wait, so his real name isn't Jake? That was his nickname?
Mm-hmm.
He chose it?
Mm-hmm.
You can't choose your own nickname. That is so lame.
Hey, Antwon?
Well,
People named Matthew chooses to go by Matt all the time.
that's different. That's not a nickname. That's shortening of your name.
Fair.
Like, a nickname is something that people give you. I had a nickname in high school that was given to me by a gangbanger. My nickname was Milky D. No matter what, I couldn't get him to call me my real name.
One.
I have
TikTok
no idea why.
just censored gangbanger, by the way.
Was gang involved?
Nope,
Yeah.
you could do gang and then you could do bang, but the second the two get put together, it becomes censored.
Do you want to... Sparrow, that's not even the worst nickname I got. So, okay. I had a nickname all through high school that... This is a short version of it, and it followed me to my very first real job. So, I went into creative writing very early on, got in 10th grade, and I got sat at a table with the resident drunk girls. I will just call them that. And when I say resident
How
drunk
to go
girls,
live
I
on
mean they
TikTok.
brought
In this video, I'm going to show you
in a water bottle to school every morning.
every
They smoked pot. They did, all those types. So, my first job, I got the nickname Lion. There's a story behind this. I just took it as is because I'm a Leo, so Lion will go with it. That is not the nickname, and I'm thankful that my boss, who heard them call me this from across a food court in a mall, did not catch the entire name. What they would call... Now, they looked at me one day at random and just said, "Your name is Dandelion the Nut-Eating Toothpick."
I remember the story.
Dang.
And then my friend was Buttercup the Toothpick-Eating Camel. These girls would see me in the quad and scream this name at the top of their lungs and wave at me and run over. How
Dang.
it became Lion is I was working in the mall food court. I hadn't seen these girls in 2 years. So it is my second day. And as I'm working on the grill, I hear a shrill voice from across the food court go, "Dandelion!" And I look up, and my boss was standing right next to me. Now, why is this nickname a thing? Because everyone who worked there had a nickname. And once you got your nickname, that was your name. They didn't call you by your regular name, they called you that. He didn't hear the dandy part. He just asked me, "Did she call you Lion?" I said, yes, she called me Lion. That ended up being my name from then on.
But Dandelion.
That is the weirdest nickname I have ever gotten. And it is the weirdest nickname I have ever heard.
Dandelion,
And it-
though.
And it stuck to the point where people would call me or call me Lion for this job. I quit that job, went back to eat years later, and people who still worked with me still called me Lion. That's how you get a nickname. You can't nickname yourself.
Dandelion. They're awesome. Do you know why Dandelion's awesome?
Why is a dandelion awesome?
Because it.
You can eat it.
Well, yes, but no.
Why would you want to eat a dandelion?
It's actually really healthy for you to eat a dandelion.
Dandelion tea is actually really good for your digestive system. Anyways, because the stages of the dandelion represents the different the different stages of the celestial bodies. The bright yellow represents the sun. The white poof ball represents the moon, and then the little seeds represent the stars.
I mean, sure, we'll go with that.
Dandelions are awesome.
How do you mute people on Steam?
On Steam?
On Steam?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have their name. And then you go to friends, I believe. And there should be a... No, that's editing profile name. You know what? I don't think I actually know how to do that.
I have no idea. You would have to Google it.
Okay, I'm just gonna block him.
I think that's the only way is to block.
Yeah, I don't think they have a mute function on Steam. Oh, do you like? I mean, I'm assuming you're on Steam. Do you like video games, right? Do you like? Have you ever heard of Rampage?
I've heard of it.
Okay, there is a very, very cool game called Terror of the Hemasaur. It is I follow the person on Twitter. That it's on sale right now because of the spring sale. It's a fun little game. Let me see. Can I share this? More discussion front page. I will put it in. I won't put the link in chat, but I'll put how it's spelled.
I'm not in chat. I'm not even looking at chat right
I was talking about Discord.
now. Oh. I swear I'm okay.
You sure about that?
I don't know. Am I?
Only you would know that.
Exactly.
Terror of the Hemasaurus. It's a fun little game. It's not that expensive. It's got 8-bit style graphics. You know, you can destroy buildings. There's a sloth character in it.
Sloth.
But it's a fun little game.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So I figured out why we're not seeing me going live on TikTok anymore.
Are you not allowed?
They fixed the studio thing that was giving us a lot of loopholes for streaming before we hit the 1,000 number. Well, they fixed that. So you now have to have 1,000 followers before you go live.
Sad.
Yep.
Everyone, you should totally go follow.
I mean, if they're not following me by now and they have TikTok, what's going on? Like,
Many things.
what's going on?
Like, tell your friend.
Yeah, robot it. The Borg
Yeah,
is coming.
Doc says Twitch is lagging.
I have no idea why Twitch is lagging. I exit out of studios and stuff for TikTok, so all my system resources should be heading to Twitch.
I'm just going off of what he said in chat.
I know. I'm just replying.
All right. Should we get to Reddit?
Yee.
Since we've been talking nonsense for the last 40 minutes.
We probably will, no matter what.
So, I have a couple. I have like 5. We have the woman who didn't understand currencies and the man who couldn't count on his fingers.
What?
We have
No, I saw that one in the chat.
my petty revenge on selfish coworkers. Sovereign citizen thought she'd quit paying her property taxes. The county does not agree with her ideas. Do you know what a sovereign citizen is?
No.
No? A sovereign citizen, or a sovcit, is someone who doesn't believe that the laws of the United States apply to them. They only believe in the laws of the Constitution of the United States.
I mean, that's one way of explaining it.
They also believe a lot of other crazy things, like the aliens founded the United States, that if you are Moorish, you can do anything because you have diplomatic immunity. They don't believe in contracting with anyone unless they actually say that they contract with them with a wet ink signature. What else is there? Sovereign citizens.
I'm traveling, dude.
Yes, sovereign citizens also believe that they don't need driver's licenses because it is not illegal. You cannot be licensed by the state to halt your ability to travel, which is technically true, but that portion of the Constitution means that they can't stop you from going from state to state. Driving within the states are a privilege, not a right. Most of them are First Amendment auditors as well, and that's a whole barrel of crazy I don't want to get into.
So they're pretty much people who believes in stuff that has no evidence of it existing.
No, they believe that the laws don't apply to them because they are not citizens of the United States. They are citizens of America, not the United States of America. And they also believe that the United States of America has gone bankrupt, and that not only has it gone bankrupt, but when you are born, they attach a
Your social security card is a bank account and currency.
Yes. And they attach a fund to it that the United States of America is holding in debt.
I used to do videos about them their Sparrow, about the people that was evading the cops and that old bingo thing that I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
That was sovereign citizens.
They are completely batshit insane. They also like to point out the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. They think a police officer asking to see their ID is unreasonable search and seizure against their Fourth Amendment. Stopping them on a traffic stop is against their 14th Amendment. Whenever they talk to someone, they say, someone of authority like a judge or something, they always say, "I am a legal living man. I am not the all caps name." I've heard sovereign citizens say they don't know what their name is when they were born because they weren't there at the time of their birth. They believe that because your name has a first capital letter and then the rest are smaller letters, lowercase letters, that the all caps name that is on your birth certificate and social security is a different person.
Yep. Basically.
What is really, really funny is when you deal with sovereign citizens and you bring up the 10th Amendment, they tend to ignore that.
They also don't register anything like their cars and whatnot, and they put sovereign where the license plate goes.
Yeah, or do not, or they put something that says "do not pull over." They believe that having diplomatic immunity makes them immune from all crimes. Like they've shown in movies like Lethal Weapon 2, diplomatic immunity gets you out of everything. That's not how diplomatic immunity works. They don't believe that a American court can hold jurisdiction over them because they are foreign citizens, they are foreign entities. That's also not how the system works.
Does this
They...
count as a lecture?
No, I'm
Yeah.
explaining something. She
Yeah.
asked a question.
You could have just dumbed it down.
I tried.
I
Banshee
understood it. I understood it the first time, and then you just got boring.
So another Reddit I have just says use the door ? And the last one is you need a shopping cart to enter.
I want to hear the door.
You want the door.
I
Alright,
called door.
This is a short one. It's from I Don't Work Here Lady. It says, I'm visiting Ireland from America, and I was in Galloway today in a McDonald's bathroom, just trying to take a number 2, as one does in the bathroom. And I heard a knock on my stall, accompanied by a very British, how does one get out of the bathroom? She keeps knocking on the stall, and I assume she's trying to find a free stall, so I say, I'm in here. She asks me if I work here. I said, lady, I'm in a bathroom stall. Why would you assume that? And I say, no, and that I'll be out in a minute, as I'm trying to pull my pants up to go help this very confused old woman. I get out, and she's like, I don't know how to get out. The door is locked. I go over to the door, pull the door handle, and it opens. And the lady goes, oh, thank you. It's my first time here. It's your first time where? On Earth? In the bathroom? In a room with a door? She left, and I just took a second to say, the door, that's right here, to myself in the mirror, because that is what I wanted to say to her. And then I left. Very confusing interaction.
She must be an alien.
I mean, it's possible. She's used to just walking in front of the door, and the door opens on its own. Does she not have doors in her home?
People must open. People must open.
No doors.
No doors.
People must just open the door for her.
I am a lady. I must have all the doors open for me.
I mean, can you imagine that, Sparrow? You're trying to get, make outish with your boyfriend, and you have no doors.
No doors.
No, thank you.
No doors. Back rooms.
Just putting all of your business all out in the open like that.
You're in the back rooms.
Hey, you don't know if Miam has made out.
I don't, but I'm assuming if you love each other, you have.
No doors.
Why are you saying no doors?
Because she's trying to avoid the topic of you two making out.
Yeah, I agree. This is a validation post.
How is it a validation post? There's nothing validating in it.
No doors.
Quack.
And calling someone out publicly. Very, very true.
It is not a validation post.
Okay,
you take that off.
There, happy?
Quack.
will say calling someone. She didn't call them out though.
Then where does it go?
It doesn't go anywhere. It's a dumb old woman who doesn't understand how doors work. Not even an old woman. We're pretty sure we can all agree she's an alien. I mean, didn't you know the government once again confirmed aliens are real?
Yes. And they
There
live
was
on
even
our
the picture
planet
of the-
and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know.
There was
Try that
even a
again.
picture of Trump talking to 2 Targaryens that people thought were aliens. Because they're stupid.
Are we sure Trump's not an alien?
Well, he's
I mean,
80
he's
years
orange.
old. Alright. If you want... Let's... Okay. So, calling someone out publicly. This whole sovereign citizen thing is calling them out publicly. So, sovereign citizen. We'll go with that.
Okay.
This one is... I'll read the title again. Sovereign citizen thought she just quit paying her property taxes. County does not agree with her ideas. So, it's in a Facebook group called Sovereign Services 1099A. It's a hell of a Facebook group. Hello, new here. Own home outright, Columbia County, Pennsylvania since 2016. Property tax, 2 years unpaid. Oh dear. Threatened to auction home for non-payment. Because that tends to be what happens. Filed a 1099A via 1099online.com, and they spelled out .com. Sent May 4th, accepted May 9th, 1096 is to be sent. I'm assuming that's 1096 is to be sent.
I fixed it!
What did you fix?
TikTok.
Are we streaming again?
Yes, we're on TikTok now.
Hello TikTok, welcome to Sovereign Citizen Talk. My name is Antwon. I'm here with 2 sovereign citizens. I hope you enjoy the show.
I'm offended.
What?
Anyways.
At least I'm not in the back rooms.
I can't help that I got no clipped back here and I'm stuck.
Maybe you deserve to be down there.
Oh no.
Alright, is to be sent. Just got notice Friday the 15th that on September 14th an online auction is scheduled. If payment isn't made, the payment appears to be both years' property tax. It was $1,600 in April as I went down to courthouse to verify. Daughter-in-law, not in-law, in-law, went with me. They spoke to her as though I wasn't present. That's because they thought you were insane and were trying to talk to someone who they believed had sense. Said it would be sent registered mail in July. She even asked me when we were leaving why he was telling her. I answered her, yeah, I don't know, like I am dead. Lol. This is May, so now they demand $3,151. There are 3 exclamation points. I was told if I communicate with them, I may end up under a new contract. I have plans in place as a security measure last minute to capitulate. I don't want to. I own this property jointly with my son, free and clear, aside from delinquent property tax for 2 years. Son has a daughter, and if he loses the house... What?
TikTok just gave me a notification. Live visibility restriction. Your live is not eligible for recommendation and is restricted in search of results because it is unoriginal content.
Because we're all using avatars that thinks we're AI.
I'm pretty sure this is original content, but whatever, TikTok.
I mean, you can contest it.
Hey, it's still on the... I'm still live on TikTok. It's still showing. People can still watch it. It's fine. I have a couple of videos going semi-viral. the little circle things right there that says I'm live. It's fine.
Okay. Where was I? Son has a daughter, and if he looses the house, he looses the daughter. Her mother will be all over this. Any suggestions, recommendations, comments? Greatly appreciate. My further concerns are, how long does this process take? How will I know I'm clear on it? And what are my next steps if they continue to auction? Thank you in advance. Now it continues. There are people who are commenting. Get ready to This doesn't have a name, but get ready to litigate and also inform the county that your house isn't used for commercial activities. It's a private domicile. Oh, they love that. This is a private conveyance. Uh, it's a private domicile, not a residence. Did you tender a negotiable instrument?
Tinder what? English?
Did you make a contract with them?
Oh.
Now, the whole commercial things, like so there is a couple of definitions for the term commerce. So being in commerce, it means you are traveling, you are moving, you are in commerce to another place. What they take commerce as being like a truck driver.
Yep.
So you don't need a license unless you are in commerce for a business or a corporation. So saying the magic word that my domicile is a residence, or not a residence, because it's not for commercial activities, they don't understand what residence means. It means you reside in the place that you are staying.
Rip everyone with headphones.
Linda responds to that, says, please elaborate. Negotiable instrument? Obviously not, since this is the first time I have heard this term. And then Linda continues, I promised nothing. My son wants to cash coins to cover the payments. I don't think that's going to cover the entire $3,100 payment, but I could be wrong. You could have $3,100 in coins.
All you need is 3,100,000 pennies.
And then it says, I told him he is a fool. Taxes aren't legal, but he is 37 and mentally trapped. There's a bit to unpack there. We are awaiting my mother estate settlement. We can always bail last minute if that gets sorted. Like I said, I don't want to re-up back into the system. I figure they sent the July notice early because they know we submitted... Hold on. We submitted the 1099-A and now they are punishing us to pay. Like bullies at school and lunch money. Told us in April, July, we would get the notice. I won't talk to them or communicate. Not sure... You're getting the notice, but you won't communicate, so you can't get... Alright. Not sure how to proceed from here forward.
My brain is fried.
And I'm not done yet. I didn't get the video on the next step, just how to file the 1099-A and make sure I own. Didn't abandon it like they want to. Where is it? Oh, and it didn't continue. So this is another person. Like it stopped. It didn't continue her post. So this is from the next person. Says, oh, they are playing games with you. The investors want your property really bad, so the county is making up some lie so they can fill their pockets with bribe money from the investors. Very interesting shit they're doing to you. Why can't you talk to them? You need to communicate, though. You got proof that you haven't abandoned your property? You got back paid bills containing that address? And there's no more after this, but it says probably for the author, this person Linda, says probably for the factory that wanted this land for a decade as it sits in the midst of their employee parking lots. Only house that held out and didn't sell. I am good. I didn't vacate, and I didn't abandon. IRS will handle the rest when and if it goes to court. I will handle it. Till then, mum's the word.
You see, it's like so stupid that I lost interest.
My brain's fried, and I'm surprised sovereign citizens haven't used squatter rights yet.
Oh, I'm sure they have.
Do
Nothing
you think
they
they're smart
do,
enough for that?
nothing they do actually works. That's the thing. Like
They
none of it.
they clog up the system, piss off some judges.
Oh yeah, it definitely pisses off the system.
But yeah.
All right, it does say that you're live on TikTok.
Uh-huh. I have it up on my phone. Why? What do you want, TikTok?
All right, I have 3 left. We have you need a shopping cart to enter. My petty revenge on selfish coworker. And the woman who didn't understand currencies and the man who couldn't count on his fingers.
The count on the finger ones intrigue me, and I agree. OP needs therapy.
Yes. More than... It's not just therapy. They need to be de-brainwashed. Alright, Sparrow, pick one.
What?
Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Just because it's a sovereign citizen, that's how that goes.
Do you want to hear about the woman who didn't understand currencies, petty revenge, or shopping carts?
Petty.
Petty revenge it is. And it just happens to be from r/petty revenge.
Coincidence?
So, my petty revenge on selfish coworker. This is a short one. I work in a small factory where I work in a pod of 8 people. The work we do is pretty dirty, and we are required to clean our stations every day per the fire marshal's order. One of my co-workers took the best broom and the best dustpan to keep at his station. This is unusual because our brooms and dustpans are kept in a specific area that everyone can access. I would have to walk around 4 stations and go directly into his personal work area to retrieve the broom and dustpan. It's rude to go into someone else's workspace. I was pretty upset. If you have to clean every day, you can understand what it means to sequester the best broom and best dustpan for your own use. Or you could just buy your own. I don't know, they're not that expensive. Instead of causing drama by going into his work area, I bought a dustpan of equal quality to keep at my own station, and an even better dustpan for everyone else. The kind you don't have to bend over to use. I made it clear that it was for everyone to use. I wasn't playing favorites. There are a couple of people there that have trouble getting all the way down to sweep dirt into a dustpan, so I did those guys a favor, I guess. Let Mr. Selfish have his old, slightly okay dustpan and broom. My petty revenge makes him look like a total jerk. What?
That's not even petty.
What? What? That wasn't petty revenge. That was you doing the adult thing and letting the person have their bullshit.
Yeah, I'm over here waiting for petty.
I do better petty stuff than that.
Me too. So, validation post?
That was definitely a validation post. Look at what I did and how good I am. I bought this for all my friends. He doesn't get to use it.
Petty is...
I blame Ishtar for that one.
She's not here to defend herself.
Poor Ishtar.
All right. So we have Banshee. You get to choose
Fingers.
fingers. All right. This is from Tales from the Front Desk.
That sounds familiar. Why does
The
that
woman-
sound familiar?
It's r/ Tales from the Front Desk.
Might be something on TikTok. Been using it.
The woman who didn't understand currencies and the man who couldn't count on his fingers. This is a long one. Even has the tag long. So here we go. School is off, and the second worst time of the year after hockey has started. The summer vacations. The dreaded vacationers are back.
Womp womp womp.
Linda shows up at the desk, and she's already all huffy and puffy. Linda is from this part of the country. She is not American at all. But Linda booked with a well-known third party. A well-known American third party. If you type thirdparty.ca, you get the local version. But if you type thirdparty.com, you get the original American version. Linda, I've booked a room for $118, but in the confirmation email I received just after, it says $169. How come? This is outrageous! It's all in caps.
Outrageous how you daddy!
The writer's name is Frenchy Nerd, so I'm gonna Frenchy Nerd. We don't have any rooms priced that low. This sounds like more like USD than CAD. Linda, no, that's impossible. Look at my confirmation email. It's written $118 in parentheses CAD $169. Why is there a parentheses, and why does the price increase in the parentheses? Frenchy
Because
Nerd.
Conversion.
Frenchy Nerd, you were probably on the American version of the third party. Linda, no, this is impossible. These are very shady practices. I booked here because it was less expensive. Also, look, it wasn't even supposed to be $118. It was supposed to be $104. That's why I booked here. Parentheses. Please note that CAD $104 wouldn't even get you the cheapest rundown motel room in this area. She then shows me a screenshot of the website of the American version of the third party with the different hotels in this town, and I see at the top our hotel, where it is indeed written $104. That shows the price in USD of the cheapest room available, but you booked a suite. It's more expensive. Linda, their display is so shady. All this is so shady. They cannot change the amount like that.
They're not.
For once, I didn't believe the third party in question is really in the wrong here. Me. What would be, Linda, what would be the price if I have booked directly with you? Me. It would have been $149 CAD. Linda shocks and gasps and erupts and Pikachu faces.
Surprise Pikachu face.
Why? Linda roars. Me. Well, the third-party reservations are expensive for us. We pay a commission on those. We want to incite people to book directly with us. Linda. Oh, this is not right. This is not right at all. This is so shady. I'm going to talk to them about this.
Womp womp.
Me. Okay. I can only imagine her calling the call center somewhere far away.
How dare you?
Let's say, in fact, somewhere that is about 10 time zones away from here, and arguing with a call center agent with a specific accent. how they are shady because they display the currency of the local version of the website visited, and how it is outrageous that some hotels display lower prices than them. As for our second tale for this evening, our cancellation policy is free cancellation up to 3 days before the check-in, not in hours, days. 1, 2, 3. 3 days before. Yet this simple concept seems difficult to grasp for many vacationeers. Every summer we have thumping and stomping and yelling when vacationeers want to change their plans at the last minute, despite the policy being very clearly displayed everywhere. I received by email a cancellation for Saturday. We are Thursday. Let's count together. In 1 day, it will be Friday. In 2 days, it will be Saturday. Does that make 3? If I counted well, this doesn't make 3. So I charge the card on file. The phone rings. Them. Hello? I tried to cancel my reservation for Saturday, but I wanted to verify if it worked. Me. You are aware that if you cancel a reservation for Saturday, you will be charged. Them. Oh? How come? Me. We offer free cancellation up to 3 days before the check-in. Them. Yes, but we are 3 days before. Me. 3 days before Saturday. That's Wednesday. Them. No! Me. June 27th minus 3 days equals June 24th. Them. Oh. No! But, even if we wouldn't be the 3 days before, how much would the cancellation cost? Me. The amount of the first night. Them. But we're only staying 1 night. Me. It's the full amount of the stay. Them. But that's not fair. Me. I'm not able to help you more at this moment. I feel like this is going to be another summer with a whole lot of potential tales to post. I think they're a little bit more snarky than they should.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that is someone who has been working the front desk far longer than they wanted to.
Very much so.
But yeah, definitely call that. There was a public call out for that.
Yeah. Do 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 do. Kind of miss StreamYards right now.
Why do we have that notification again?
Yes, sir. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's an easy fix. If it was like 15 more minutes, I would have just ignored it. But it's not 15 more minutes, so I can't ignore it. Come on, people. There's one. There's the other one. Hi. There's the other one. But that was 100% a public call out and validation post all rolled in one.
Definitely. They want to make themselves feel better.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Look
I got
at me
one
dealing
more.
with these Karens. I did good.
I think they're kind of a Karen, to be honest.
110%.
All right, so this one is from Malicious Compliance. You need a shopping cart to enter.
No, you don't.
Well, that's why it's malicious compliance.
Mm.
They are complying maliciously.
No, it's definitely not. I don't know what generation I'm talking about. Because generations would be boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta. This
Yeah,
was
there was nothing generational about that.
no, it was currency and not understanding how time works. It was more entitlement. And I don't have a thing for entitled person or Karen. Unfortunately. Should add that.
When the Karen is mad about another Karen, a Karenception.
Yes, that was 100% what that was.
Alright, so you need a shopping cart to enter. With an exclamation point. Few years ago, an abiding customer, me, the owner of a grocery store nearby, had too many people buying too many things, never using the carts. Hence, checkout was always a bit chaotic. It's a pretty big store. 6 counters, 6 belts, always one cashier. Not 2 or 3, not even on a Saturday. Big sign outside. You need a shopping cart to enter. I was already running late and needed 1 roll of tape. So I walked in pretty fast for a guy my size, and this grumpy old fart gets in my way. Almost ran into him. You can't shop here without a... Yeah, I know. I only need a... No. No cart, no shop. In a voice you use to explain to a 2-year-old why he should not paint the wall with his diapers. Gross. I turn around, get 2 carts. Push one, pull one. Steer through the aisles. Owner gives me that smile. I call my wife that I'll need a couple of minutes. I walk up and down every aisle. He waits at the checkout. 1 empty cart. Another empty cart. I lay my little roll of scotch tape that I carried in my hand on the belt onto the far end. Upright. Plan works. It won't roll all the way down. I push both carts into the trolley lane, as it's completely empty. Owner fumes a bit, but says nothing. Go back to the cashier, who is close to bursting of laughter. But Big Boss Man is right next to his ear. The owner starts yelling, so I try to copy his voice from earlier. No cart, no shop. Now 2 cart, 1 shop. Ote dada? I was banned until the owner sold it to some nice family. The sign still is above the entrance, but nobody cares. I didn't get the tape. He threw me out. The first comment looks like you were on a roll.
Alrighty.
This is petty. This is petty.
That is petty,
Yeah.
yes.
That's
I would-
petty.
It's only malicious because he got 2 carts, but that is definitely petty revenge.
Oh, 110%. And I love it.
Yes. I love petty.
Oh, yes. That should have been checked. I lost brain cells with that story. That should have been checked with Sovereign Citizen.
I lost brain cells?
Yes.
I can agree to that. But that is all I have, unless you two have something else.
I got you
Nope.
X, so you need to do X for me. That's technically what this last story was. I got the card, so you should give me my tape. I have an argument for it.
Are you arguing for it because it's going to get a bingo, or
No.
are you arguing for it because you just want to click the button?
I want to click the button.
I don't go on Reddit, so I got nothing.
I don't have a bingo. I'm nowhere near a bingo, unfortunately.
If I'm looking at the card, you have a couple of 2 places that you...
Yeah, like we're going to get an alpha chat, and Ishtar and I are not going to be talking in chat without you knowing. And then gaslighting, and I don't know what generation we're talking about. Though I doubt it.
Well, I don't have any more Reddits, so I don't think we're gonna get him.
I mean, the generation one could happen in natural conversation. People get Gen Alpha and Gen Z mixed up often, Gen Z and Millennials mixed up often, and Boomers and Gen X mixed up, and Silent Generation and Boomers. I mean, in natural conversation.
Yeah, but you and I are both millennials.
Me? I am what generation am I? Gen Z. I am Gen Z.
You are at the tail end of Gen Z.
Yeah.
I'm literally a month away from being Gen X. Like I'm in the middle. But
You're
I'm
not that
considered
much
a millennial.
older than me.
Yes, but I'm still at the tail end of Gen X. I grew
Yeah,
up in
and so
Gen
am
X.
I.
But we are considered millennials.
We're considered Xennials. We're
I don't-
cusper. So, nah. Fight me.
I don't think anyone wants to bite you.
I said fight. Not
No, I
fight.
heard bite. The teeth.
Ah,
Women love the teeth.
I actually gave my boyfriend a few scars for my teeth.
Scars. You broke
Yep.
skin.
Yep.
You're not supposed to bite that hard.
and we're back to Antwon getting teeth.
Well,
See, even Dark heard bite. We know what we heard.
yeah. Okay, well, the first time I bit him, he didn't feel anything, so I had to bite harder so he can feel something.
You're not supposed to break the skin.
Too late.
But what that tells me is you've given hickeys.
I actually can't.
I mean, you can't.
I've tried, and it just fails.
How?
I don't know.
You suck on the skin. Breathe through your nose.
I've tried. It failed. I don't even know.
If you broke skin, you can.
I mean, that's fair. If you were
I
biting
can with
hard,
my teeth.
yeah, but that's how you give a hickey. You use your upper teeth, you press them down, you suck on the skin while you're biting, and you pull away before you start sucking on them like a vampire in a straw.
Sucking on them like
That's
a
my
vampire.
mom's job.
I am not a vampire.
No,
No,
You are.
no, not a vampire.
you are. Yeah,
Not
yeah,
a vampire.
yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Present the evidence.
I'm not allergic to the sun.
I have MCAS, thank you.
Still.
Are you allergic to silver?
No, that's actually my favorite metal to wear.
Do you like garlic?
No, my MCAS doesn't like that.
So that's 2 strikes against you. Can you cross flowing water?
I love water. Me and water are friends.
I didn't say water. I said, can you cross a flowing stream? Can you walk over a flowing stream?
Mm-hmm.
Can you enter a building without being invited?
I haven't tried that.
So that would be 3 strikes. All signs point to vampire.
I am not a vampire. Chat, shut up. You don't get to help.
Huh. So far I have everyone against you about
Even my
vampires.
best friends. Even my best friends, and you know this. I am not a vampire. Very much much human, unfortunately. I just
So
have really
far.
good taste in music, and I know a lot of lore into history and stuff.
No,
Yeah, so
sounds-
far you
yes,
haven't.
you have intimate knowledge of history because you lived it.
Oh my god. No.
So far, we haven't gotten one person that's against the theory.
I'm not a vampire.
That's
Ooh, I
exactly
should
what
be
a
my
vampire
boyfriend
would
on too.
say.
What?
Don't worry about it.
My captions are gone. I forgot to put my captions.
Sad. Sad day for you.
It's fine. I can fix it.
No, you can't.
I have my captions back.
Oh well, you can fix stuff.
I don't know how to work computers. Don't make me happier.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Well, you see, the reason she's not very good at fixing computers is because most vampires can't keep up with technology, so they have to actually actively train
Do not
themselves.
make me hack both of your computers.
Mine's still old.
It makes it
What's-
easier.
Oh, see, because she knows history intimately because of how she's lived through it.
Oh my god, I'm not a vampire.
I mean, you heard her yourself. She's been learning CapCut because she has to. It's too hard to actually pick it up.
She's
easy.
trying to learn the new technology so she won't get suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I'm not a vampire.
Yeah, you're a vampire. It's all right. We
I'm gonna
accept
get
you
more.
for being a
I'm
vampire.
going to get more people into this.
Oh my god. I'm never gonna live this shit down. One day on Chaos 120, me and Plain Speech was talking about the 1800s music and how it was really good, and people started calling me a vampire, and ever since then, I cannot live that shit down.
Well, that's because you were there when some of the music was composed.
Not vampire.
Did you guys ever see the movie Sinners?
These.
No.
It's actually a really good vampire movie.
It is.
And I like how they went for the old school version of vampires, where they have to ask permission to come in. You know, they don't necessarily have to drink blood if they bite.
Dark, no. I do not count every grain of rice that is thrown at me.
I mean, that is something that, leprechauns have to do.
I may be short, but I'm not that short.
You're 5 foot on a dot.
So you're a vampiric leprechaun, is what I'm hearing. So is the pot of gold a real thing, or is it just something you tell people?
I'm not a leprechaun.
No. She's talking about gold, so she won't get suspicious about the vampire part.
Ah, that makes sense.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to go back to our old stream where I was able to talk and you guys weren't able to hear me.
Yeah, but that stream didn't work.
For y'all. Nah, she's not Jewish. Yeah, I'm not Jewish. I'm Celtic pagan Taoism.
So a very old vampire. I mean, believing in pagan things. Do you do rituals?
Not anymore.
Occasionally.
Wait, Ma, how old are you?
39, about to be 40.
So you're like 3,900?
Damn!
I'm not a vampire!
I would have gone with 390, but you went 3,900. Add a couple thousand years on there. Your mom is 3, almost 4 millennia old?
Yeah.
Oh
Ouch.
god. Damn
My
it, ad
boyfriend
break.
agrees that you're a vampire. Yes.
I'm not a vampire. Oh my god.
So, did you know Jesus? Like, you got to know him? That's
Oh my god.
age. What was the last dinosaur you got involved with? Like, did you have to put a... Did you, like, put a leash on him? Walk
Oh
it
my
around.
God. Help. Somebody. Ha. You guys got an ad break. TikTok doesn't, but Twitch does.
Are you the reason Mozart was deaf?
I am deaf. If I was a vampire, do you really think I would have Alexander Graham Bell even remotely do half the stuff that he did? No.
Okay, well, you
I
probably
didn't say you
know him at
controlled
the time.
Alexander Graham Bell. I asked if that you were the reason Mozart was deaf.
Alexander Graham Bell did so much horrendous things worldwide. I'm pretty sure with me being deaf, I would have known about his existence.
Knowing about someone's existence and being able to do something about it doesn't mean that you can control him.
He's
Yeah,
trash.
see, this is why she's a vampire still, instead of finding a solution to it and hiding from the sun. Because she believes that she can just control people.
I didn't believe I could control people. I would just murdered him before you tried to actually invent getting rid of sign language around the world.
Wait, okay. Here's another thing. The reason why she knows human beings very well is because she has been spying on them for so long.
I have a psychology and sociology degree, about to be bachelor degrees.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, here's the
that's
thing.
because
The
you
class
have to
is
know
too...
how your prey works.
Oh my god.
Here's the thing. You've mentioned it before. The class is too easy for you.
It's because it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
Well, yeah, when you know the same thing for the last 3,900 years, it gets pretty easy.
Not a vampire.
I mean,
Vampire, you can learn
it's
how
it's
to
the same
do
thing, like-
everything at different points of time. You're not wrong.
It's the same
Hi,
thing
fan,
like
I
a
have Final
hunter
Fantasy.
having to learn the attitudes and the way deer work. You know everything about your prey because that's what you have to use.
Not a vampire.
Plus, you gotta stay up all night, too.
I have insomnia. I have been diagnosed with both types of insomnia, too. And I have medication for it that needs to be upped. So...
You're just probably just saying excuses so you can seem like you're a human.
I've yet to see solid fact that I'm a vampire.
I mean, even Dark says you're not beating the allegations. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
You should just come out of the closet. Sorry, not closet. That would be rude. Come out of the coffin.
Yeah. Come on.
I came
Just
out of the
admit it.
closet years ago. I don't want to go back in that closet.
I
like
didn't say
girls.
closet. I said coffin.
I'm not a vampire.
The more you say you're not, the more we're going to be convinced that you are.
Not a vampire.
Maybe she's a vegan vampire. That's why she doesn't eat humans
Ooh.
anymore.
Ew.
That would
I like
make
my
sense.
meat. I can't eat a lot of vegetables and fruits because of my allergies. Thank you, MCAS.
You do know you're not proving that you're not a vampire.
Yeah.
I'm telling you why things exist. I have insomnia. I have MCAS, which has 3 annoying allergies that happens to be a families of a lot of things, and I'm allergic to the sun because my MCAS attacks my freaking cells. And I have POTS.
I mean, I don't have allergies to anything, so I'm good.
You're lucky.
I'm
I'm
allergic
also
to-
not a vampire. Like, I accept what I am.
I'm allergic to eggs. That's it.
And nickel.
Nickel.
Yeah, that's why you can't wear certain jewelry.
I don't want to test the bed bug theory. I'm gonna be honest.
You're deathly allergic to bed bugs.
I don't want to test it.
Isn't everyone technically allergic to bed bugs?
Yes, but Sparrow was hospitalized because of it.
Ah.
I don't want to test if I'm still allergic to it.
Like, Sparrow needs to have an EpiPen around them because they're that allergic.
Well, I mean, when you raise her in a castle, it does get kind of drafty.
What castle? I lived in apartments.
Castle, apartments, it's a bunch of rooms that people live in. It's... Look.
Not a vampire. If I was a vampire, do you think I would have money right now? Like, come on.
Not all vampires are good with money.
Okay.
I'm amazing with money.
Plus, not all vampires live in castles. They could just be like hiding in a house trying to blend in with humans.
I 100% agree, Dark. Bedbugs have no purpose. Same with cockroaches. That they're just annoying. I agree.
I don't think there's a single person that likes cockroaches. And even if
My
they
mom.
say they do, they're lying.
My mom.
I like the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Not the dirty American cockroaches. They're creepy.
Why do you like the hissing cockroach? Because it hisses?
Yeah. And it's kind of a little big and it doesn't look like
I like snakes.
a gross...
And bugs.
It doesn't look like a gross cockroach.
Just weird.
Yes, chat. Deaf Banshee crashes out.
Is that on... Oh, I was going to say, is that on the bingo card?
Yes! Now we just need ADHD take... Oh, that one could be checked too. ADHD could be... ADHD take control over the stream. That was how the whole start of the stream. And then
It's been the entire stream.
Ishtar yells at Antwon and or Deaf Banshee. If Ishtar would yell at one of us, we would actually have a bingo.
Yeah, but she's doing things.
Uh-huh.
Quack.
So we won't get her yelling at us. So unfortunately, we do not get our bingo.
Quack.
So close. But yet, so far away.
Is there anything else you ladies would like to talk about?
I'm not a vampire.
Besides you failing to convince us you're not a vampire.
I don't know how to convince you guys I'm not a vampire. I'm not a vampire.
Quack.
Are you quacking?
Sparrow's a duck, even though Sparrow's a different type of bird.
The only reason I know she's quacking is because I could see it on screen as her captions going quack, quack, quack.
I should just rename myself as Duckerson, just like my TikTok.
My avatar does have white hair, but yes, yeah. But I have bright red hair in person, so...
No, you don't.
It's about to be black. Because I have
Like
to.
a vampire?
No.
Just like going emo, just like a vampire.
No, the color guard group I'm with, in my contract, I have to have a natural type of hair, and with bright stop sign red hair, the only color I really could go is black.
No, you could still go red. You could still be a ginger.
Just like Angel. Brother. Yes.
but it's kind of harder to go red, more orange, when you have stop sign red hair.
Well, you could talk to Ishtar about that. She's had stop sign red hair. It's called, actually, the color is called vampire red.
Yeah, we have the same color.
See, you're not never beating the allegations.
Even your hair dye says you're a vampire.
And I want to keep my hair red. I really do. I
You
love
can
the
keep
red. But the
You just-
contract says natural hair color.
Red is a natural hair color. You just can't have it, as red as my hoodie. But you can have red hair.
But I like it as red as your hoodie.
Well,
Sucks to be me. I know.
I was going to say you'll outlive the person making the contracts anyway, so just rewrite it after they die.
Oh my god. Not a vampire.
You somehow escaped death itself.
Yeah, well, so did you.
I did.
Okay, chat. 2 Fridays ago now.
I think she muted herself.
I did not mute myself. Oh my god, I'm gonna. Anyways, 2 Fridays ago, I was driving home from Walmart after getting Sparrow some chalk, and this drunk driver ran a red light and somehow missed my car. Logic says it should have hit. It should have hit, but some reason barely missed me.
Here's the thing. You were in the car.
Okay, and
So because you were in the car, it didn't hit us because you escaped death and you have like a barrier thing around you because of that. I don't know.
uh-huh.
My brain ain't working.
That would make her a Jewish vampire. Wait, what?
I don't know how that works either. I'm at a loss. We'll just.
I don't. This is getting out of hand. I'm not a vampire. Nice Castlevania reference.
I will say you have yet to prove that you're not, and since consensus rules around here, 2 of the 3 people on the stream say you are, and everyone in chat says you are. We kind of overrule
Everyone
you.
that you know also says that you are. So
this has been a running thing since 2018. I don't think I'm ever running away from it.
You're trying to run away from it now. Just embrace it.
yes.
Like I said, come out of the coffin.
I
Everyone
would
knows.
love to be a vampire, but I'm not a vampire. It would be awesome to be a vampire, but I'm not a vampire.
She's still in denial. It's sad.
Yeah.
I'm not in denial. I quit.
Oh, she knows that she's crying.
I'm not crying.
I can almost hear her forehead hitting her desk.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Ishtar is an alien. Banshee is a vampire. Inside jokes are great.
I was going to say, you're a vampire, Ishtar's an alien, I'm a cyber demon, Sparrow's a duck. I mean, it's
yeah,
fine.
a duck quack.
Oh look, in stream button. I wonder what this does.
Quack.
We do have only 13 minutes left of the stream anyways. Just saying.
Did you want me to do an outro?
If you want to. That's up to you. I'm just not a vampire.
Sure.
Not a vampire.
Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, for Are we still calling this thing Threads of Truth or whatever we're calling
Yes,
it?
sir.
You don't even have it. You don't even have a title. It just says Black Dahlia plus Reddit. We haven't even talked about the Black Dahlia.
I haven't changed that since we were going to talk about the Black Dahlia.
So thank you for joining us for Black Dahlia plus Reddit Threads of Truth for the 432nd day in a row, because we've never missed a single day of streaming. For those of you who've just joining us tonight, well, we've been streaming on a very, very super secret streaming service that you don't know about. And you never will, because you're not part of the cool kids. We are. But thank you for joining us. My name is Antwon Creed. I am one of the co-hosts of Threads of Truth, hosted by the vampire known as Deaf Banshee, and, you know, the duck known as Sparrow. We hope you had fun. We hope you learned something about Banshee being a vampire. And we will see you all later.
Bye,
Bye.
cat.